This is the Indy 11 Coaches Show podcast, brought to you by your Central Indiana Ford dealers.
Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 2 of the Indy 11 Coaches Show podcast. This is Indy 11 head coach Sean McCauley. I am Grant Shoulders. Today we are going to be discussing the first month or so of the 2026 season, some new player signings, and as well as the upcoming matches. First, Sean, how are things at the training ground?
Yeah, good, yeah. Players are in good spirits. We've trained well again today, and we look forward to the weekend's game.
First, starting off on the player side of things, since our last episode, we've added 3 players, Loic, Micah, and Mo. First off, talking about Loic, he's immediately made an impact into the first team in the league matches since. Just love to hear your thoughts on Loic.
Yeah, I mean, he's come in, he's done a really good job. He's a really good football player. I've known him obviously from my previous role at Minnesota United. He was probably unlucky not to get retained there and stay in the MLS, and then I think he took the chance to get back in with somebody else in the MLS, and that didn't work for him. And I was in contact with him at the end of last year, and kept in contact and gave him the time to maybe seek the opportunity that I wouldn't be surprised if we'd have got another team in the MLS. Fortunately for us, that didn't work for him, and then we've got a decent enough relationship where he chose to come to us, and he's playing his football here now, and he's made an immediate impact with the team on the field, and he's a fantastic kid off the field, so he's a good player for us.
And then Micah, not too long after.
Yeah, Micah came in. It's a loan, so we're really thankful and appreciative of Charlotte for giving us the player and help him develop. Different type of player, a defensive player that needs to learn the defensive aspects of the game, and that sometimes happens when teams want to put them out on loan. They want to probably make errors in an area where it's not on them. But we're also going for points and going for wins. So he's going to have to fight his way into the team, and if he wants to be a successful defender, then he has to defend better, and we'll be part of that process of making him a better defender. He's good with the ball, he's really good going forward, and we've put him on the field in more forward positions because we recognise that he's got that quality as well, and he showed that when we played at Hartford away, putting a great ball for a goal that puts 2-1 up, but unfortunately then at the other end didn't defend well enough, and we concede a goal. So it's going to be that highs and lows for Mika, and he's just got to get through it if he wants to have a career in football. And
then at the time of us filming this, announced today is Mohamed Omar, so just would love to hear about him.
Yeah, Mo's been a player that's been available for everybody, and we sort of made contact with him a couple of months ago, but because of the visa process and him having to go through that in order, because he's obviously Canadian, Somalian international, but he's had to get a visa, so we've been waiting patiently for that to go through. That's gone through, and now he's here with us. We just need to get him up to speed fitness wise, and he'll be part of the squad as well moving forward.
Talking about this past weekend, Pittsburgh at home, the first thing that stands out is Eric's Team of the Week nomination. He was on the first team and also nominated for Save of the Week. Just kind of your thoughts on the game as a whole, but specifically his impact with 7 saves against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean the saves, I thought a couple of them were good. I think the save for the free kick, the save against Dequa, I think are good. I think the rest of them were just standard saves, but I think sometimes the Team of the Week is done statistically rather than actually watching performance. The biggest thing for Eric is he should have had a clean sheet. We sent our evidence of their goal that they scored. The referees have got back to us with their opinion on it and said that Eric was fouled in the build-up to their goal. So the referees have taken ownership and taken blame for not giving a foul on Eric, because if you look when we put our report into about the referees' decisions, that decision should have been given a foul because Griffin goes and jumps on top of Eric and he wasn't able to get up and get the rebound. So the referees quite rightly have admitted the mistake, but we get 2 points deducted from us, and them 2 points are important because we missed the playoff last year from 2 points. And a lot of people probably don't understand that these things happen. And we have to put the report in, and it's very rare that the referees do come back and admit fault. But on this one, it's so clear. They've admitted fault, and that fault has cost us 3 points. So we've dropped 2, and it's cost Eric his clean sheet, and he deserved his clean sheet. And if he would have got his clean sheet, he deserves to be the team of the week. And obviously, because of statistics and he made some saves, he's got in team of the week, and long may that continue.
When the referees admit fault in a situation like that, kind of on your guys' side of things, is it just like a okay and then move on kind of attitude, or?
Yeah, nothing we can do.
Yeah.
We had 2 last season, which were game-changing decisions, which they admitted fault to. We put in reports all the time. We put in a report on Loic Misanvi's, I think it's a penalty. And we did it because we wanted to get an understanding of Reece got a red card in the game prior to that. The ball was not going in the goal. The player was not getting the ball after Reece fouled him. And we felt that the goalkeeper made a challenge on Loic early in the second half, which was after the ball had gone. If that happens anywhere else on the field, it's a foul. Irrespective of where the ball goes, where the opponent can get the ball or not, it's a late challenge and it's a foul. They've not admitted to that one being a fault, because then that's 2, and I don't think they want to do that in one game. But we have to put these reports in, and we've been, last season we got 2 where they said, yeah, they're game-changing decisions, result-changing decisions that we got wrong. And this is another one that we've got, which sometimes they can, results, it might not have affected the result. I think the 2 that we put in was, last year was Sacramento away, we didn't think it was a penalty. And it was when we played Colorado Switchbacks at home, we were 1-0 up and Eddie Kizza went through 1-on-1, he got called offside. And they brought that back and said, yeah, he shouldn't have been called offside. You're looking at probably a goal going in, different story. This one, I do believe, when it happens in the last minute of the game, if a foul's called there, we see the game out and we win 1-0 and we'll get 3 points. But there is nothing we can do about it after the fact, other than hopefully things even themselves out.
With now 4 league matches under our belt, 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. When you think about this first month or so of the season and how it's shaped out, kind of what comes to mind immediately?
We've lost 4 points in the last 2 games. You know, we're in a winning position with a few minutes to go in each game. We've lost 4 points. Now you could argue that if we'd have scored the equalising goal, have we gained a point? You know, that's the situation. But we've been good enough to be in the games every game. When we lost at Brooklyn, statistically we were a better team in terms of winning, trying to win the game. We didn't. I think the Hartford game, probably a draw is a fair result because we didn't play well in the first half, but we did enough to get 2-1 ahead with minutes to go. You could argue that if we walk away with 3 points, Hartford are probably a bit disappointed they didn't get something. A point is probably deserved from both. And then obviously Detroit, we beat them, and I do believe that, again, the decision's gone against us. We should have had 2 extra points. If we get a win at the weekend, that will take us into five games, you know, with a points total then, which will, you know, be above 1.5, which should be enough to get in the playoffs.
When you look at Monterey's resume this year and their squad, what do you see?
Good players, aren't they? You know, so everybody, when you look at them, they've all signed good players. We've signed good players. I'm really pleased with the players that we've got. They've probably gone for a little bit more experience. Players that we know really well. Obviously, and it's not hard to recognise the talent they've brought in. You know, with Sebastian Lletget and, you know, a couple of others they've got internationally. So yeah, we've got a tough game against them. I think their performances have been better than their results. Probably a little bit like us. We've managed to get some more points on the board, but I think they'll be okay as the season goes on. Hopefully we can take the points at our place, and then they can have a good season after that.
When you look at our starting lineups throughout this season so far, the biggest changes have been at that central forward area at least. We started off with Charlie. Obviously, he's had some issues injury-wise since, and then kind of moved to Dylan, and then now Noble for the past, week and a half. When you're making these decisions, how much is the opponent and their build affect your decision making for that?
I think the second half at Hartford, we moved Noble into that position because it allowed us to draw the opponent towards us, because Noble plays a little bit deeper, and it allowed Bruno and Loic to play a little bit higher. And that's what it was with that. Charlie started, and I thought he did really well. Should have probably got a couple of goals against Brooklyn, and then obviously he's had his injury, so that's, Dylan naturally went up front, and we made the change, and the change worked for us a couple of times, so we'll continue with that. But we've got Kean Williams and Kizzer who have both played in the cup games. Loic and Bruno can both play centre forward, so we'll mix and match based on the opponent, but also based on who's in form for ourselves, and we'll have to be flexible in our approach anyway, because like I said, we're a squad that is all going to play a part. We're not going to rely on just the 11 players.
Right. You just mentioned Open Cup there. Obviously, our Open Cup run has come to an end for this year. Beat Des Moines 3-0 and lost to Union Omaha 1-0 at home. Obviously, we get the chance to see Union Omaha again back at home next month. But just would love to hear your thoughts kind of on the Open Cup this year, and any takeaways you may have had from it.
I'm really disappointed that we didn't get through. Wanted to get through. We'd have played an MLS team. I want to do that. This club's not historically played a lot of MLS teams. Well, the last couple of years we have. Wanted to do that again, and it was probably my decision, thinking about the load and the games that we'd had and the importance of the Pittsburgh game, because they're a conference rival. I do believe that we'll be in and around them fighting for them places. It's figured out that Louisville, Tampa and Charleston are at the top again, and I sort of predicted that, and then the rest are fighting for everything else, and I just wanted to make sure that we didn't get injured or beat up against Union Omaha. And my plan was, on 60 minutes to bring off a few players, change, and bring some of our sort of regular players in for the last 30 minutes in that cup game to give us a chance to win it. What changed was obviously Reece getting sent off, and he got sent off just before we were planning to make the change, and that sort of stumbled us a little bit in terms of having to go 11 versus 11 with our stronger players for the last 30 minutes. I believe we would have won the game, because I think for the first hour, our younger players competed. They made it difficult for the opponent, but then a lack of concentration from Logan. Ball goes in behind him. Reece makes a decision, and like I said, if the decision's consistent, that call is a red card, or the call for us would have been a penalty against Pittsburgh. But he's made the decision, that's gone against us. Then we're down to 10 men, and it's a completely different game. And then with one eye on the league game, I've got to make decisions then. But in future, I maybe look at sort of not playing as many of the younger players together all at once. I might have done a better job of playing 50-50, and swapping one for one, and keeping a balance of more experienced players on to get the win. Now, when we face them again, it's a weekend game, weekend to weekend, different competition. We'll be going with the strongest lineup possible, and we will go and give them a picture of what I hope to have seen in the last 30 minutes of the cup game.
Gotcha. We talked about the addition and having Jack back after the Pittsburgh game a little bit, but obviously he has tied the USL Indy 11 goal count. When you think about him being back in the team and kind of how it affects the press and the communication in the midfield, just talk to me about Jack Blake.
He's a good player, Jack, and he's got really good game knowledge. So he knows when to press the ball, when he knows when to drop off, he knows when to keep possession or when to play forward. And if you look at the game against Pittsburgh, played a lovely ball through to Bruno, which got him through in a 1-versus-1. He takes really good positions so he can keep the ball in good areas. He combines really well down the left-hand side with Loic, and you can see pictures of him growing and growing. But for his achievement to be, level now, and he's 1 goal away from being the all-time leading scorer for Indy 11 in the history, I think it's an incredible achievement considering he's a midfield player. Now he takes penalties, I'm sure, but to step up and score that many goals from a midfield position is remarkable for him, and I don't think he'll be 1 goal ahead of the previous record. I think there'll be multiple goals ahead, and he's great to have back in the squad.
Gotcha. That's all for Season 3, Episode 2 of the Indy 11 Coaches Show podcast. As always, check out shop.indy11.com, and we will see you guys next month.